Crystal. Hello, our Auntie Finn. How are you doing today? How you doing? Sippers and subscribers. God bless all, love all so very much. Shout out to you, Crystal. We love you too, baby girl. Samantha. Afternoon. Please come in hitting the like button. Thank you. Please and thank you. I'm sorry. She said please and thank you. Okay. Shout out. Excuse me. Don't even bother being concerned about. I ate something with some cheese on it. I said just a little, and baby, they gave me a lot, and it was good. So that inflammation is there. Every time I think I done got it cleared out, them parasites make me crave something that I ain't supposed to eat. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna get to a point where I won't have those cravings. That's my ultimate goal. Hey, Monty Trucking, how you doing? How you doing? Y'all, please help me reach my goal today. I have $100 goal. End of the month, y'all been lacking on me. The ones who used to have a membership, y'all just done abandoned old Auntie Fee. My. I'm praying for y'all too. So listen, got a bit of some good news. The Supreme Court done pissed the tramp up. Auntie Fee, cut that down, because I know I didn't hear you call that man the tramp. Oh, he not a tramp. My goal today is $100. Well, it would have kind of been my goal for the month, but it's the end of the month. So I appreciate all support, any support. Help Auntie reach her goal. You know, it's been almost 2.5 months since I've been demonetized. Still trying to bring it in to y'all. We're about to reach. So, you know, I just appreciate the support. I appreciate knowing that you guys appreciate me trying to go in and find the best, the most factual news for y'all, instead of just feeding y'all anything for clicks and views. It's just not in my heart to do. And that's real talk. So, y'all, before we get started, I want y'all to hit the like button. I don't care how many people are in here at this time. Please hit the like button. There's so much I could be doing right now. So much. I mean, I want to go to the nail salon. You know, it's coming up on the 4th. My feet could be done. You know, some of this little hair up under my chin could be yanked out. Auntie Fee, huh? You got hair, baby. Listen, I remember a girl in high school a long time ago. She was hairy. She had hair up under her chin. Baby, I ain't gonna tell you what Boogie used to say about that hair up under her chin. Oh my God. You know when you have to laugh and you have to put your head back and laugh so it can come out right, baby. I hung around some fast chicks. Now, I wasn't fast, baby, but Boogie used to say, baby, they say hair up under your chin mean your cookie good. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Boogie. Boy, I tell you, me and that girl went through some things, baby. She was maybe just a little too fast for me. I don't know. But when times got hard and her daddy and mama got mean on her and put her out, I snuck her in. I snuck her in the house. They let her take her car. I think she was 16, 17 years old. She had a Camaro. They let her keep her car, but they put her ass out. And I snuck her in. My mama had no idea, baby. I had somebody sleeping on the side of my bed, the far side. So she opened that door and said, get up or something, or go watch this. She'll never see her. Cause she was laying on the side of the bed on the floor. And it was one of them kind of low-key beds, you know. They used to have the speakers, you know, lamps on it with a 8-track where you can listen to some music on the 8-track, you know. That was the type of bed I had. It had been passed down. I think my mama had. Did my mama have that bed first? I don't think she bought it for me. I don't know. I don't remember that. But that was my bed my junior and senior year. Yes, indeed. And I had her ass right on the side of that bed because it kind of had that velvet, you know, they kind of, you know, the sideboards of the bed. The mattress and box springs. So, baby, I think Boogie stayed on, you know, she would come. And my mama was notorious of going to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock, she out. But God dang, we used to have a squeaky front door. I think she did that shit on purpose. But anyway, I would slowly open that door. And she'll slide in. And then I would tell her to run up the stairs while I make noise, you know, like it's me. Well, baby Boogie would say, baby, they tell her if you have a hair or 2 or 3 up under that chin, that mean that you had good cookies. So I guess I said all that to say, Auntie Fee now have 3, 4, 5 hairs up under her chin. I guess I have good cookies. Oh my goodness, you know, I had to throw that on in there. But anyway, let's get started, y'all. Please support the platform. I'm finna put my goal for today in the comment section so that y'all will know where y'all can go and support Auntie Fee with a hair or 2 or 3 up under her chin. She needs to go get that off, you know. And it's time for me to get my nails done. I ate late, so I ain't hungry. I guess that's why I'm giggly. Because I just ate not too long ago, huh? You know, Auntie Fee don't act right when she hungry. It just don't work out. Feed me till I want no more. Ain't that scripture? Or that ain't what the scripture talking about. It ain't. They talking about the word of God. Oh, okay. Well, heck. It works for me. Because you know, I ain't in good spirits when I'm hungry. So feed me. Okay, y'all, so listen. Let me cut this down. I'm 8 minutes in. Come on. Let's understand that, baby. He finna be typing all type of goofy, kooky, crappy mess today. Because he just, you know, like when you get a blow that just kind of knock you off your feet. And I know this man knew that this shit wasn't gonna work, but he gonna try it anyway. I remember when he came in office, their whole agenda was to challenge the Constitution of the United States. To just challenge it, trying to change it up to work in their favor. Just kind of how they did Carmelo Anthony and changed up and bypassed the law, bypassed what's written. So it's this administration, MAGA, that was their goal. It was their goal to challenge it. Old and outdated. That's what Dominique. I know people don't like Dominique, but listen, I like the fact that he stood in the gap for Carmelo Anthony's civil rights, and he was telling them then that it's still in the books. And they were saying, oh, but that's old and outdated. They already knew that they was going last year, that they was going to challenge everything in the Constitution to work in their favor. That he came in, executive order, day one, messing with people, birthright citizenship. And even then, it didn't make sense to me. They left it in the book, Samantha. They left it in the book. You see how it all ties in? Do you see how it all ties in? So when they were saying, yeah, but this old and outdated, and he said, I didn't even have to be there to hear that, to understand that conversation. I didn't have to be there to hear it. The mere fact that he said, but it's still in the books. That means that they were trying to deflect because they knew Hunter and Austin was wrong. Do you understand? I know that's not what this is about, but it all ties in. It's all a part of the circle. Why else would he be saying it's still in the Constitution of the United States? It's still in the books. Whether it's outdated or not, it's still there. Oh, he planned to do an executive order and change that, but it's still there. Why else would he say they left it in the books? Because they was trying to deviate, because they know for a matter of a fact that in law it said that young man did everything he was supposed to do. But not over a push, but it's still in the books. You understand? You understand? I knew exactly what he was saying. I knew exactly. So the first day in office, he started challenging the birthright to get these people out. He knew right off that a part of this new world order, he was still shipping them off. So what are they going to do about the kids and stuff that they done shipped off? Are they going to go back and get them? After they done probably been mishandled, abused, probably majority of them hell is in McDonald's, right? God dang now. You understand? They had ran out of bodies. They didn't have no beef for the burgers. Yeah, so they shipped off over 600 kids. Even when the judge told this tramp not to, he still did it anyway, way in the midnight hour. But in that song, late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. It's gonna work in our favor. Yeah, it's gonna work in our favor. You know how I know? Because God says so. The last will be first. You understand? Late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. And it's gonna work in our favor. We gotta hold on to that. We gotta hold on to God's word. We gotta hold on to what we know is true, whether we understand it or not, whether we wish it moved quicker or not. God said late in the midnight hour. They said, God, late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. It's gonna work in our favor. And so when he came in on this executive order day one, I kept thinking, now how's this shit gonna work? How? So their plan was to do another bypass. What you mean? Bypassing the law to fit them. Because how in the hell? Indeed, how in a D hell was in that them, how were they going to enforce that when they mamas and daddies came over here illegally? Huh? So that means that they birthright citizenship is null and void, right? So are they going to start with them? This is how I was thinking. Y'all know this is how I was thinking. I said, well, that mean everybody in the Trump family, all the Tramps, was gonna have to go back to they mamas and daddies, and you know they gonna let them choose which one of the heritage. I mean, how was that gonna work when Trump mama came over, snuck on a boat, great granddaddy, grandpappy, you know, he did exactly what his great grandson did. He avoided military, avoid fighting for his country, treason, this type shit. Yeah. So was he gonna start at the top and work his way down? So that means that also, okay, so that means that law that he was fighting for, it's gonna omit some people. It ain't gonna mean for him and his family, Ivanka, you know, how you gonna sleep with your wife and y'all daughter? I mean, oh my God, allegedly. That's what the word on the streets in the U.S. is, huh? They said Bibi Netanyahu is holding the biggest black male carrot dangling in front of you. Bigger than Putin? Oh my God, it's bigger than Putin's. They thought that the one Putin was dangling over your head was the biggest. No. They recently came out and said Bibi Netanyahu. Who? Netanyahu. Who? Netanyahu. Clap. Who? Netanyahu. Netanyahu. Say who? Netanyahu. Biggest. Because he said he got evidence that you were hooking with your own daughter. Yeah. That's why he liked the little girls that looked like his daughter. Who? Netanyahu. Say who? Netanyahu. Netanyahu. Baby, what? And y'all know I did my hair like the choir directors do. You. Oh my goodness. Sometimes you gotta laugh from crying, baby, because this man has tested our spirit, our energy, you know, trying to make us turn on one another, trying to make us act a fool, trying to make us react to this bull crap so that we can start a war amongst ourselves. And we have been diligent. We have been silent on trying not to take this man's bait. Yes, indeed. Netanyahu, say who? Yeah, that's what he said. That's what they said. They said, thank you, Janet. They said he got the biggest. Yeah, that's why he jumping through hoops, bending over backwards, you know, bending forward, going down. Auntie Fee. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Well, hell, he went down on Bubba. So, hey, we ain't gonna act like it's out of the ordinary. Hell, it's in the Epstein files. Say he going down. Whose song is that? I'm going down. I'ma turn your whole world upside down. Sleep don't come easy. We ain't gonna act like he a head. We ain't gonna act like he not a headhunter. We know he a headhunter. He's a headhunter. Yeah, he a headhunter now. We ain't gonna fake the funk. We ain't gonna lie. We gonna shame the devil. He's a headhunter. So I'ma carry on. But we ain't gonna act like he ain't a headhunter. Shit. Yeah, the way he was trying to rip open old Big Bubba's belt buckles and shit. You a lie. Trying to put females to shame on that thing. Let me stop. She said, oh my God, you cutting up today. Oh, y'all know y'all miss these cut-ups. I added some more herbal substance, vitamins, and nutrients into it. I kind of think they working. I kind of think they really are working. You know, I got to give it up to them. Now, which one is making it all come together? I'm not sure, because y'all know I will take some supplements, baby. Because I don't want nothing strange in my body now that I know what they ass is doing and been doing and you know, all of that there. Yeah, I'm on it, boo. I mean, I am on it. I got a big old box yesterday with a whole bunch of sour sap. What else I got up in there? I got on that charcoal binders, you know, to bind these spirits, these little old bugs that's been in our body for years and years. Now, I may have been cleaning some of them out and not realizing, but I'm on it now. I'm on it now. I'm on my green tea. I'm trying, baby. I don't want none of that type of stuff. So whenever they decide to push the little old button to make people, you know, react and start being zombies and walking dead and all that type of shit, it ain't gonna hit me. Cause I'm got them little worms and shit up out me. I'm trying hard. My brother needs to be on it, you know. I ain't taking no. I don't care what them doctors say. I don't want them cutting on my brother. I want him to detox. You know, I want him to heal himself. We got to. Listen, we got to stop taking their bait. We got to stop trusting these doctors who don't have our best interests in heart. They have no desire for us to heal. And God done gave us every natural supplement, every natural herb that he created to heal our bodies. Our bodies weren't designed for us to have to go to the hospital all the time and be addicted to stuff that they don't put in our systems to block things for our craving. You know, they intentionally sabotage the food and medicine to create blockage so our bodies won't get signals to heal. I mean, it's just blowing my mind, the extent that they have went through to handicap us. Now I'm hearing that shit that they was spraying in the air, and I felt like it during COVID and coming out of COVID. I remember saying, oh, I feel like something is in the air. It's like every time I go outside, I come back sick. And then all of a sudden, when I would go to the grocery store, I couldn't see. And then I started thinking it was the lights, the light bulbs. They trying to trick us with these light bulbs so that you can pick up the, I don't know. But I noticed I went from 2020 to not being able to see at a distance. Close up, I'm perfect. I can see everything. But if it go far, I mean, and it ain't far-sighted, near-sighted, it's something else. Now I'm hearing they done alter the eyes and, you know, they're spraying chemicals and shit to make you blind, sick, and all type of stuff. I said, man, this is crazy. I knew it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. What could have happened that I went from 2020 to not being able to really see? I mean, Christmas, the stop sign, not the stop sign, the red lights and green lights looked like they had Christmas lights. I'm like, what? I remember saying, Scooter, can you see, when you look at that red light, do it look like a red light or do it look like a Christmas light? He was like, it looked like a red light. I said, it don't have like, you know, the little Christmas tree spikes. He was like, no. Here I am, taking a picture of it. I said, what you see? What you see when you see this? It don't look like this? He said, no. Yeah. So now they want me to go here, go there. And I eventually, if it don't get better, I'm going to go. But I'm telling you, I'm on everything natural to get my, whatever this is, to go away. I'm doing, right now I'm doing honey drops. Have y'all ever heard of the honey drops in your eyes? I'm doing honey drops. And then I got some other stuff. But let me move on. I'm just saying they tried so hard. They tried so hard to make us sick so that we can go to the doctor and then they can cut on my eyes or do whatever, stigmatism, arthritis in the eye. And then hell, to come to find out that you can have parasites in your eyes. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Parasites on your brain. So they done came up with all type of names for these ailments, and all it is that your ass needs to deworm and consistently deworm. Dementia, Alzheimer's, them parasites. They not gonna say parasites. You have to ask them, you know, in a backwards ass way. Do parasites contribute to dementia? You know, stuff like that. You have to word it different. Like me now, I like that. Now, the first time I tried it, I was thinking, oh my God, why is my eyes feeling like that? But it's a part of the process. So right now, I really like my honey drops, and I got some other pills and stuff. I paused them because I want to see how well this honey drop works. So after I got past the first day putting the drops in, and you know I went overboard. Probably was only supposed to put 1 drop in hell. I'm trying to put 2, 2.5. I'm trying to cover my whole eyeball. You know I probably did too much. Yeah, I'm whispering because I'm telling on myself. So the next day, I did it right. I just did a drop, and I closed my eyes and let it roll my eyes, you know. And then I did the other one the same way. And from that point on, I mean, everything was bright. Everything felt like it was getting better. And do I see stuff clearer and better? Like my TV in my room is way over there. I mean, it's long distance. Do I see it better? Yes. Am I comfortable with driving at night right now? No, because it's only been about 2 weeks. But I can very well tell the difference. So whatever other eye drops and moisturizers and stuff, I have paused. So far as drops, I like these drops better. I do like the honey drops better. And it's all natural stuff. So yes, I like it. I'll give it 2 months to see. Maybe I need to give it 3. Maybe I need to give it 90 days to see if I will be comfortable driving at night. Because right for the last year, one day I was about to go on I'm going to be honest. I noticed it probably 2 years ago. And I went on a date. And by the time I was leaving and heading back to where I was staying, I thought that they had changed the light bulbs out for Central Expressway. I started saying, why are these lights so... Why are they so... I can't see. Why? They must have changed the lights. I remember that. I remember saying, you know, we always blame something else. Because it looked like they was kind of yellow or too bright or something. And it had that little Christmas light thing going on. And I really couldn't see. And I was like, ooh, I don't like these lights over here. Blaming it on something. And that was about a couple of years ago. I think, yeah. And so last year, I think I was finna test drive a car and I couldn't see. I could, but I was like, oh no, I don't think I need to be test driving this car. Especially trying to put some speed on something. Oh, hell no. And I knew then, yeah, something's going on. And I'm still 2020. But I probably not 20/20 with them bottom lines no more. Because I can't see that. It's blurry. But anyway, let's move on. So yes, Janet, I do like the honey drops. You know which one I'm talking about? Do I need to show you? I like them. It really brought, if the colors started dimming on you, it instantly, you know, once you get past that first, what, oh my God, what is this? Once you get past that, you gonna say, oh yeah, hey Johnny Diggs, what it do? You miss me talking bad, good. Yeah, once you get past that first stump, oh yeah, things are gonna be bright and colorful for you. Very bright. Hey, I love it, Star. And once you get past that, do I need to show you the bottle, or Janet, like me? Yeah, everything is bright and colorful. I just need for them little Christmas light things to go away. Yes, do I need to show you, or yes, you know what it look like? Say show me, or no, I'm good. Let me get. And I got one for each bathroom. And if y'all are in the DFW, especially you men, if yo on TV, show me, okay. And you men, come on in here now. I gotta talk to y'all too, cause you know I got a brother who going through right now, and thank God he is doing better. I think he went for some, I don't know, can't remember what my niece said, what type of test it was. But he's being tested, but he getting up doing stuff that he haven't been wanting to do. And hell, he got some antibiotics and his ass didn't even take it, but she said he doing stuff, but they moved him to another facility. Now I'm beginning to think that where he was probably had mold up in there. But he doing better. I want her to detox him before he take any type of chemo, demo, whatever. Detox him. But let me take this off so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Wait a minute, girlfriend. Wait a minute. I'm coming. You know, every time I'm talking about some real stuff, it tries to act up, don't it? Every time it'll kick folk out trying to stop me from telling the truth. And I know that the powers to be know that it's going to take more than that to stop me from telling y'all the truth. Now, I know. It should know that by now. I am a young man. Okay, Johnny, but listen. I want y'all to pay attention to the color of your urine. If it's dark, if it's really yellow, you know, and have a lot of bubbles, detox. I have a brother in the DL. He not a brother. It's just a guy on my Facebook. He sell watermelons with seeds in it, the black seeds. Get y'all some watermelon with some seeds in it and get hydrated. Flush them toxins out. Get on some real tea. But that watermelon, they don't want us to take that watermelon. I'm on a watermelon crusade since they did that watermelon felon type shit, and we found out it goes back into long before slavery. Yeah, get you some watermelon with some seeds in it, cause see they tried to make fun of us going about our business, making our own money. They don't want us to be great. Get you some watermelon. Go to the market. Get back in tune. Make that stomach go down. Yeah, flush that shit out your system. They couldn't stop us from making money, building wealth and shit on watermelons, and then they tried to make fun of it. And then old Jeff Bully Metcalf comes out with watermelon felon cause his fucking kids can't keep their hands to themselves. And then they gonna cover up the truth. But the truth gonna set us free. You know, truth gonna set Carmelo Anthony free. Watch and see. Okay, let me take this down. Let me take this down so I can show y'all so we can get into some laughter about the Trump and his administration. Yes, indeed. It can't mess with our birthright citizenship. Yeah, because I'm going to want it to start from the top. White chocolate, because your mangy mud-ass mama came over here illegally. So she birthed y'all asses over here illegally. How dare you? How dare you? And your citizenship is illegitimate. Boy, I can't stand trifling people. Let's go. Here we go, Janet. This is the one I use. This is my first bottle. Let me see if I can see how much I done took. Can I not see that? I don't even know if it's halfway, but this is the honey I dropped. You see it? And so this is on standby. Let me show you what's on standby. The Vision Complex. Natural. This is on standby. 7-in-1 full spectrum eye support. This is on standby. And I may need to incorporate them both, but I wanna fully see what the honey gonna do. I like the honey eye drops better than Visine, Izine, the other Omega 3, whatever. I was taking some other stuff and I liked them, but it just wouldn't give me what I was trying to. So right off the bat, this made things a lot clearer, smoother, and brighter. Okay. And yes, I'm still taking my aged garlic extract. And in the morning, in my old oil of oregano, it's in the other room. I take that at night. And something I'm doing is working really, really good. So let's move on and let's talk about this birthright citizenship where Trump done took a loss. He mad at everybody when he should be mad at that Nick. I don't know why. Right in between, right there by that tie, where it's choking him at his neck. Don't that look like a cookie? I mean, look like he got some cookie lips. While your mouth is open like you ready for a pickle to go in. He's saying, why, why have the Supreme Court, especially the people that I put in place to protect me when I'm doing my sneaky shit? Why, why have y'all forsaken me? You know why, dumbass? Because a lot of them will be stripped of their birthright citizenship as well. Dumbass. Dumbass. The hell, you only gonna protect yourself and your family. And hell, they gonna get caught up and lost in the sauce trying to protect your bitch, trying to be loyal to your unloyal. Nick, did you have a split earring? Did you have a split? Do it look like somebody, like he had an earring in their ear and he was in a fight and lost and somebody yanked that earring out of his ear? Ain't that one of them yanked ears? Now, I ain't gonna say no, but don't that look like somebody sliced that ear? Like if you jiggle it, it's gonna have a split. He better stop playing with them fools. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. You know how? Yeah, he look like a turtle. Dude, I think he look like a monkey. I think if you make some of that skin brown and like the hair on his face, he be going choop, 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 choop. Like he trying to eat on a banana. Knowing good and damn well they say he good at eating or sucking on pickles and shit. You know. Yeah. He look like a monkey to me. He favor Bubba. I know he like bubbles and shit. I know Bill Clinton is a bubble. But he look like a Michael Jackson chimpanzee. He look like that bubble. Let me pull it up and see. Since we just fact checking, let me see if he look like a turtle. If he look like Bubbles. No, I can't put Bubbles. You gotta put chimpanzee. I'm gonna putting Bubble. Hell. Back. No, he don't look like that one. He don't look like this one. No, he don't look like that one. Let me look. He don't look like this chimpanzee that pulled up right here. I ain't gonna lie on you. Wait, maybe this one right here. I ain't apes. He look like, yeah, he in the ape family. He damn sure in the ape family. He in the ape family. Hold on. Auntie Phil. Auntie Phil. I can't believe you doing this. Yeah, he is one of the monkeys and shit I saw. He look like. He look like. I don't know what their name is. One of the mouth is always open, probably. Let me see. Let me see. Make this bigger. Let me see. Yeah. He look like one of them, y'all. This lady ain't got no dang sense today. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now, I don't know what happened because them ain't the ones I was looking at. Let me see something. Let me take this down. I think it's this one right here he favors. I think it's that one. It ain't this one. I think it's this species right here. Hanging on vines and shit. Always got a damn banana, a pickle, cucumber in his damn mouth, sucking on it and peeling that thing back. He like them uncircumcised bananas and shit where he can pull them bad babies back. Yeah, now that's what he on. That's what he on. Look at it. Look at it. Chimpanzee, monkey, see monkey do. Yeah. Yeah, them little old no lip ass. Yeah, that's what he looked like with them no lips and shit. He looked like he a creature from the Black Lagoon. That's all I'ma say. I said what I said. Somebody sent me a picture. I know exactly where I need to go. Thank you, Spirit, Holy Spirit, for reminding me somebody sent me a picture. Sure did. I know who sent it. I'm going straight to it. Yeah, make this shit easy so I can get my point across. Let me move these people so y'all won't be saying who sent it to her. I know exactly who sent it to me. And I'm finna run right on over here real quick. I hope it ain't too far ago. And put so that y'all can see Auntie Fee just ain't tripping. He do look like he from them monkeys. Monkey see, monkey do. How long ago was that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm always sending stuff to myself, making it hard to find. Let me move on because I don't want to stall no more. I thought... Oh, I'm looking at what I sent them. I won't need to be looking at what they sent me. No dang wonder. Yeah, no, he from the ape family. Yeah, he monkey. Him monkey. And he got the monkey ideas and shit. You know what I mean? Dang it. Or was it you? Dang it. Which one of y'all sent it to me? I know it was, well, I say I know it was. I'm going to say my song. I know it was the blood. Hey, Maurice, where you been? Hey. I know it was the blood. I know it was the blood. I can't hit that note. Oh, one day when I was lost, he died upon the cross. I know it was the blood for me. I can't find it, y'all. It was too far ago. But he from that monkey family. That's his bloodline. Let's move on. Let's get to the T. Can you tell me if which one of y'all that sent me that stuff, which one? I sent you the picture. Okay. I knew it was you. Oh, my battery low. I knew it was you, but then it must have been longer than a week ago. So I know where to go and find it. I thought it was you. And when I said I know exactly who sent it to me. And then when I couldn't find it, I thought it was my other for sure. Nolans, working my butt off, Auntie. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to see you. Thanks for coming through and chilling with Auntie Fee. I'm still crazy. I'm still funny. I'm still her. I'm still y'all favorite YouTube Annie. Gonna get y'all to the truth and get they asses told. Amen. Okay, so I'm finna start off, and I'm finna I need for y'all to help me reach my goal today. And y'all hit the like button. Because I was up to 100 and some people a while ago, and I only had 19 likes. Do the math.
Citizenship, males identifying
How does that
as
add
female.
up? The same.
News from the U.S. Supreme Court. Major decisions on birthright citizenship. Males identifying as females and playing in women's sports.
I don't. Now that I don't agree with.
Congress.
I don't agree with that. Males, y'all playing with yourselves and changing, and then you want to compete as a female. That's wrong to me. It's 2 left feet. Come on, baby girl. I'm sorry.
Playing in women's sports. And breaking news from the U.S. Supreme Court. Major decisions on birthright citizenship. Males identifying as females and playing in women's sports. And campaign spending for Congress and the presidency. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. So the High Court moments ago rejected President Trump's attempt to limit birthright citizenship. This was not a shock. A lot of experts and legal eagles had already foreseen this. The vote was close, 5-4, with Justices John Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett.
I don't even know how it was that close.
Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. The crux of the case rested on the 14th Amendment, which states this: all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Critics argued birthright citizenship incentivized illegal immigration into the U.S. A separate decision elicited cheers outside the court.
See, how did he think that was going to work? And his mama was illegal. His mama and his heritage on both sides came over illegal. I mean, it's like, so yeah, this is the rules we want to apply, but it don't apply to me? Is that what? That makes it bogus to me. If it don't touch your family, it shouldn't touch nobody else's family. But this is still my mama in my ear. They make the rules and they break the rules. They laws don't apply to us. Well, why make it law? So that they can do what they want to do to us. No. And when I say us about this birthright citizenship, I'm not even talking about us. I'm just talking about we the people. Come to form a more perfect union. Establish justice and secure, equality. Provide for the common's defense. Promote the general welfare. Yeah. That's supposed to mean something. So how dare your crooked ass? It don't get no more crooked than him. It ain't shit that the people that are locked up in prison for crimes against humanity that your ass ain't done. Everything. And I do mean everything that people are locked up for your ass has done. And then you want to change laws, cover them, bypass. Y'all need to be the bypass boys instead of the good old boys, because y'all bypass the laws y'all make. And y'all are the ones who breaking more crimes, more murders, more grapes, more robberies. And then y'all blame them on somebody black. That's what happened to Carmelo Anthony. If truth be told. And then now y'all bypassing laws and sealing shit and trying to stir up a racial war. Because that's what y'all do. Yeah, y'all expected for that old lame ass Jake to start that war out there. Got his ass cut smooth out and went to jail. He out there in BET Awards trying to stir it up again with a damn ankle monitor on. You used them once? Yeah. And I hope by the time he goes to trial, your ass is out of office so you can't pardon him. And so he can sit in jail and bend over backwards for Bubba. Yeah. And he's a PDF for everybody that you pardoned done fucked with is. Before. Yeah. Y'all predators. PDFers. And Jake Lang is one of them too. He lame as fuck. Yeah. But them folk in California, he didn't go too deep off into Cali, did he? He stayed his ass away from Crenshaw with that shit, didn't he? Yeah, he stayed out of the hood on that black and you were bad dads and all of that. And I don't know who the hell you think raised you. Who played with you first? Yeah, you just repeating what was done to you, lame ass. But I'm going to leave you alone for now. Yeah. So I didn't understand how this shit was going to work anyway. When your birthright, you ain't supposed to be here either. You brought that foreign shit over to the U.S. You and Bibi Netanyahu and them. Y'all brought that shit over here. creepy ass. Y'all been stealing and illing for years. Just like you said in your deposition. Taking females' cookies. People, y'all been doing that millions of years, is what you said. And then you had the nerve to tell that woman you wasn't her type. You a lie. You ain't got no type. You don't have no type. And that's why they saying you gonna pay this woman. You gonna grape her and then try to defame her, and you want us to let you get away with that shit? Hell no. Not this time. We ain't going. Let's go. That happened yesterday. Now you getting your feelings hurt today. While you trying to rewrite history, your dumb ass. Let's go.
Of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Critics argued Birthright Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. The crux of the case rested on the 14th Amendment, which states this: all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Critics argued birthright citizenship incentivized illegal immigration into the U.S. A separate decision elicited cheers outside the court.
Disappear until July. Build your vacation body. Tomorrow morning, we're starting the free printable Tai Chi walking challenge for women over 60. Just 7 minutes a day to tone flabby arms.
So you had birthright citizenship, that was a no, but this is equally as huge. Justices moved to uphold Idaho and West Virginia laws. So state laws blocking men who identify as women from competing in women's sports.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Was injured by a transgender opponent in a volleyball game. She spoke with Fox News earlier about the critically important part of today's ruling.
I'm just feeling so blessed. Of course, this is something that means a lot to me, and it affected me personally. And you know, there's a lot of eyes on this across the country. There's families, there's parents, and there's coaches and daughters who are watching this decision being made. And I'm just so thankful that they get to understand that they are protected, and it's okay for their state to protect them, because I mean that's all it was.
Chief Legal Correspondent Shannon Bream is at the courthouse now with the latest on these consequential rulings. Shannon.
So, Harris, I know you have a serious competitive female athlete in your house, and we're watching this very closely. Justice Kavanaugh does, too. His young girls are athletes, and he coaches them. He's the one who authored this opinion. And he says this. He says women and girls should be allowed to compete for life-changing opportunities on an equal playing field. He mentions they shouldn't have fear of physical injury from biological males or being forced to compete against biological males.
Yeah, them strong-ass testosterone.
States that have these laws, they can proceed with those laws. A win also for conservatives and for Republicans who brought a case dealing with campaign spending and finance. But what it ends up doing is opening up spending in a way that benefits any party, the RNC, the DNC, in the way that they coordinate with particular candidates. But the big one that the president and most of us were waiting on was birthright citizenship. I got to tell you, after the arguments, I thought it might be a more lopsided decision, but it essentially was very tight, much tighter than we thought it was going to be. And you saw Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Barrett siding with the three liberal justices in this case. Justice Kavanaugh kind of splitting the baby into dissents there by Thomas Alito and Gorsuch. So it wraps up a huge term, a split, you know, a win and a loss for the White House today. But you already see the president celebrating that big win when it comes to West Virginia and Idaho being able to uphold their laws with regard to trans athletes in women's sports.
All right, we'll get into more on that particular issue, too. We have a very, very special guest coming up in just a few minutes with regard to that. But I want to bring in Jonathan Turley now into our conversation, Shannon, constitutional law attorney, George Washington University law professor, and a Fox News contributor. So I'm just going to ask a plain, blank question that I have seen all over the internet in recent days with U.S. Supreme Court decisions. Is Amy Coney Barrett a true conservative? What is the metric around her joining liberals?
Well, Barrett has really drawn a lot of barbs on the internet and from many Republicans who are disappointed in how she has voted. She has voted against the administration on some critical cases. But it's important to also note she has voted with the administration on a great number of cases. She is a conservative jurist, but she is very independently minded. And, you know, I know that's hard for people to accept. In birthright citizenship, passions are high. There are good faith arguments on both sides here. You can't really paint one side as outrageously out of line. This has been debated for decades. And when it comes to Barrett,
Y'all help me reach my goal. I put it at the
as
bottom.
good examples, I think that President Trump made this a much better court with his three nominees. They are extraordinary jurists. Yes, they disagree with him at times. But when they were nominated, President Trump said he wanted to have independent and principled minds on the court. He got them. And at times they vote against him, but they often vote in favor of these conservative values. And this day is going to be a good example of why this mantra to pack the court with an instant liberal majority is so unconnected to reality. I mean, this court continues to exercise great independence and integrity. You can disagree with them. I've disagreed with them this term and in other terms. Yeah.
But excuse me, Jonathan, I would just make this argument. If you're listening to some of the far left and socialists, I don't want to take this too far down a political, but just to push back a little bit on what you're saying. If you're listening to some of those candidates, and some of them are winning primaries right now, packing the court is on that list. And so it may be very balanced in the way that you're laying it out right now, but it's never going to be enough for the left, and particularly the far left. They get back into office in any sort of majority sense, or the White House, or both, you know, bicamerally plus the White House, which is what the president enjoys right now, President Trump. And you can bet this is on the short list of things to do. No one is arguing with that on that other side of the aisle from Republicans. I do want to get to this because I think it might get a little bit buried today. The federal campaign spending was a win for Republicans. What can you tell me about that, Jonathan?
That was a huge win, and it's consistent with the Citizens United case that said that money is speech. You know, when you say you want to bar money from this group or limit money in this way, it does have an impact on speech. Now, there are still individual limits on contributions, which may become increasingly in conflict with these other cases. Those remained in place after this decision. But what the court says today is that this really is a form of speech. People use their money to amplify their views. They go to political groups in order to campaign, both on the left and the right. This benefits both sides. But there is a coherence and consistency here. Now, politically, this is a big advantage for the GOP. This is one of their top issues that they wanted to secure. And it was very well argued. This was also a case argued, strangely enough, by Mark Elias. And many of us were very surprised when the Democrats picked Elias, who was connected to the Steele dossier and the Clinton campaign and is a very controversial lawyer. I wrote a column at that time saying I couldn't imagine a more ill-considered choice to try to get that conservative majority to accept these limits. Clearly, he did not win the day. And so the question at this point is, what is the after effect of this decision? As many like Trey Gowdy pointed out in the previous hour, there's this inconsistency on limits for individuals that don't apply to groups. And so that may be something that gets more and more acute as a conflict.
All right, we'll watch for that. President Trump posting just moments ago.
Oh, he already?
The court just took restrictions off political spending, exclamation point. Big win for Republicans, and more importantly, the First Amendment. Shannon, your reaction.
My friends laughed.
He faking the funk.
And now they ask me where I got this. So I almost made the dumbest mistake of my life.
Yeah, and as the professor has pointed out, I mean, the opinion makes it clear this is, even though it was brought by Republicans, it benefits all parties. It is not a partisan decision. They say this, whether the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, or other parties, all political parties and candidates going forward can compete equally under the same rules regarding coordinated expenditures, can structure their fundraising, spending, and political speech on a level playing field, as they see fit within the law. So some will tout it as, hey, it was brought by Republicans, the Supreme Court's doing them a favor. But what the court says, this is to benefit any political party out there that has these expenditure, regulations. And it's not something that is just going to be a win for Republicans. If Democrats choose this funding model, they can do it too.
All right, and I mentioned we have a special guest coming up in a few moments on the men identifying as women in women's sports. We already have seen the NCAA say they're not going to separate out and bring transgenders into women's sports. So that was one thing that was already on the side of
They said
perhaps
what?
getting us to the
They're
point
not
of
gonna
the
bring
US Supreme Court
transgender.
just
What? Hold on.
This is to benefit any political party out there that has these expenditure, regulations. And it's not something that is just going to be a win for Republicans. If Democrats choose this funding model, they can do it too.
All right, and I mentioned we have a special guest coming up in a few moments on the men identifying as women in women's sports. We already have seen the NCAA say they're not going to separate out and bring transgenders into women's sports. So that was one thing that was already on the side of perhaps getting us to the point of where the U.S. Supreme Court just upheld on a different issue what the president wanted. So, Shannon, you were just talking about what the president wanted on finance, campaign spending, federal campaign spending, and that was one win for him. But another huge win is this other topic. And I want to bring in another voice on the conversation, Charles Marino, former DHS advisor. Great to see you. I'll get your sort of overall reaction to what's transpired. Charles.
Well, I can tell you, I think the Supreme Court blew it when it comes to birthright citizenship.
Blew it.
President Trump and his administration were exactly right when looking at the causation of illegal immigration, to look at the incentives.
But he's a illegal
entitlements
immigration.
and birthright citizenship. I think to ignore those would ignore solving the problem, ultimately, of what caused this mass illegal immigration into the United States. The American people lost today. And the reason why they lost today is because our national security was ignored, the current threat landscape was ignored by the Supreme Court, and the burden to the American taxpayer was ignored based on entitlements. We have no further to look, Harris, than the Somali community in Minnesota, where head of households, including Somalis in the country illegally, account for 87% of welfare. After 10 years, that number goes down to 81%. This burden is going to be astronomical. It will continue
It's been
to
there.
serve as an incentive for illegal immigration. And I predict we're going to see a spike in attempts at the southwest and northern borders based on this ruling alone.
Wow, that is quite the prediction. And it's not just based on looking at history, which would be a good indicator, but also just your experience with knowing what it takes to vet all those people at the border. If we should ever flip the switch again in this country under different type of leadership on the left, if that should ever happen, what really could be next? And that would be more of this birthright citizenship. By the way, China is already reportedly doing a lot of this in the country already. They're not coming across the border, they're flying in.
Yeah, that's why it's a threat to the national security of the country. This has been exploited for decades. And why the Supreme Court would leave an incentive like this on the table, which basically validates come into the country illegally. This, again, is the equivalent of when Ali Mayorkas was Secretary of Homeland Security, and in the first week of the Biden administration said, we're not telling you not to come. We're just asking you don't come now. This is the equivalent with the Supreme Court ruling. They're putting up the stop sign, yet waving everybody into the country illegally under the table. And it's going to continue to cause grave threats to the American people.
Well, he's stealing anyway. He's stealing anyway.
Charles Marino, always great to have you on the program.
He's stealing anyway. I mean, so
Shannon,
what's the
I wanna quickly
difference?
come back to you to put a button on the next topic that I was
That's his
talking
buddy
about,
right
and
here.
that is men and women's
He may
sports.
be in the Epstein files. We know this one in there.
Yeah, and this decision today, a big win for West Virginia and Idaho, and you mentioned the
We know he in
NCAA,
there.
Olympic Committee,
Per
and
Sasha.
others have said that women that are biological should have freedom to compete in their particular leagues and their particular activities and events without biological males, biologically born males, being able to intrude on those spaces. And so You now got 27 states. You have a number of top sports organizations, and you've got Justice Kavanaugh for the majority saying, yes, they deserve to be free of that. He also did a big, long list. And again, he's got athletes in his house, female athletes like you do, saying that there's every time you give away a spot or a medal or a scholarship, it's a zero-sum game. Somebody's losing that opportunity.
That's right.
And certainly that could not have been intended under Title IX.
Well, that's part of it, and it also changes the trajectory of what young women can do once they're out of sports. I mean, if you have all of that leadership and all of that mattered to get you to stand on a podium against a whole lot of qualified athletes and have the gumption to say, I am the best. I mean, that takes a lot, and you wear that on the inside as you live the rest of your life. If you get that ripped out of your hands because a man took it, that sets us back previous to Title IX. That takes us all the way back to, I don't know, should we even have the right to vote?
Well, he talked about the blood, sweat, and tears that
Yeah.
female athletes put into absolutely
Thank
trying
you.
to get that much faster, that much stronger.
Thank
All
you
of
for the
things
Cash
they
App.
need to do to have these opportunities that Title IX was supposed to guard and rope off for them.
Yeah, I mean, it really does stab at our spirit. This relives it and lifts it to a different place, and that's a blessing. Great to see you both, Jonathan and Shannon. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox
That's where we
News
go
latest
next.
on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox 1.
Hold on. What else I got? Hold on. Hopefully. Oh my God. Oh, good. I had that thing pulled down. I'm sorry. Where are we going next? Victim testify impact. No, what is this one something?
I've bought a lot this year, but nothing beats this bra.
Oh Lord, they just be
hello
talking
to your
about any and everything.
Flags and trying to show us what is happening. Specifically, Margot Martin, one of Donald Trump's top aides, has been posting videos of Donald Trump where you can clearly see his cognitive and physical deterioration. And I think she's trying to post these videos to show all of these red flags to the public. At the same time, she sees Natalie Harp, who Donald Trump describes as his human printer, and others describe her as something else to Donald Trump, always by his side 24/7, raising lots of red flags there as well. I'll talk about that in a moment. Margot Martin posted the following video right here of Donald Trump in the Oval Office looking deeply unwell as he was signing an executive order yesterday, claiming that there was a national emergency, that people who fix their cars get arrested, and that we need to help the people fix their cars because they're getting arrested and thrown in detention centers.
Hold on, let me read this one.
There's so much on the line for the future of our democracy. I want to bring in Mark Elias.
Yeah.
So much on the line for the future of our democracy. I want to bring in Mark Elias, founder of Democracy Docket. He argued this case in front of the Supreme Court
And he won.
back in December.
Oh.
Mark, your reaction to this decision?
Look, obviously
Brian.
it was wrong, right? I mean, the fact is that the Supreme Court, in this 6-3 decision, overturned a prior decision upholding the same statute that came out in 2001. And the only thing that's changed since then is the composition of the court. So, you know, for conservatives who preach non-judicial activism, this is hard
Hey,
to
room
square
shaker.
that. But more broadly, Alicia, this will open the floodgates of more money into politics through the political parties. And, you know, I discount the Republicans who think, well, they have a hard money advantage right now. I mean, those things come and go. Sometimes one party has more, sometimes the other party has more. But I think fundamentally, this is just another example of this court dismantling a congressional series of laws that it just doesn't like.
Can you break down for me the part of the dissent from Kagan that I read? The result will be a legal regime increasingly unable to stop political corruption. What does that actually look like in practice?
Look, I think that, you know, the irony of all of this is that with each passing year, the Supreme Court takes
I'm finna
another
check it
pass,
now,
another
Janet.
piece of the campaign finance laws. And each time they say, well, this thing in and of itself will not lead to corruption. But yet, collectively, what we are seeing is a greater connection between money and official action. I mean, look at this White House and tell me that money does not play a role in the grift and the graft and the corruption of this administration. Now, to be clear, not all of that, or not even most of it, is going through the campaign finance system. But these things are all interconnected. And if you don't think that allowing more and more money to flow through parties into campaigns, will be abused by this president, given everything else he's doing, then I think you're wrong.
I think this case in particular is sort of hard to break down the way that people will actually experience or interact with this, but the midterms were already expected to be the most expensive in U.S. history, more than $11 billion so far. How is this decision going to impact what voters see, what they experience in the coming months?
You're going to see a whole lot more television commercials. So if you like that, you're going to see more of those, because this is going to allow the party committees to essentially pay the bills or pay for more television ads for campaigns. So that's one thing you'll see immediately. You will probably also see just more money in politics generally. But look, I think the one thing that has been clear ever since Citizens United is that what starts as a relatively narrow ruling. Remember, in the days after Citizens United, we were being assured by conservatives, all this means is that corporations can make independent expenditures, same way as individuals. And now, here we are, 16 years later, and we see what the campaign finance system looks like. And I suspect, as you said in the lead-in, this opinion will be viewed in a few years in the same way Citizens United did, as sort of the part of the unraveling of what was the tapestry that Congress put together in the post-Watergate era, that this court has systematically pulled one thread out after another after another.
Mark, I hear your point about how trying to decide who has the advantage here is sort of a fool's errand, but the DNC, DSCC, and DTRIP released a statement that says, in part, Republicans are, quote, rewriting the rules
Absolutely.
in an effort to drown out the will of the voters by flooding
By
elections with
bypassing
more money
the
from
law.
their billionaire backers. If you are a small dollar donor, you're just an observer who doesn't like the number of billionaires that now have their hands in our politics. What does today's decision mean for you?
I mean, it's not good, but it hasn't been good for a while. So look, my advice to people watching this is find a Democrat who you support and make a donation to their campaign. $1, $5, $10, $25. Go online to the DSCC, the DCCC, the DNC, and make a donation to them of a small amount, because every bit of money helps in the fight for elections this November. I was proud to have argued this case in the Supreme Court. I wish it had turned out differently, but the fight is not over. The fight is just beginning, and we saw with the Birthright Citizenship case this morning that Republicans are not going to give up. Donald Trump's already talking about legislating there. I had a win in the Supreme Court on a mail-in voting case, and we saw that they've not given up on that. So I expect they're going to try to exploit this decision further, and the best thing people can do, other than to be registered to vote and to vote, is to help support Democrats this fall.
One thing is for sure, Republicans do not have our best interests at heart. I don't care if you think you believe in what they believe in. They don't even believe in what they say they believe in.
It's not good, which actually I think sort of cuts to the bone of the whole thing. Let's talk about the mail-in voting decision. It seems pretty clear on the surface, pretty straightforward, allowing states to establish a grace period for ballots to be counted. What was interesting to me was that in his dissent, Justice Alito had some choice words saying, quote, "The majority's holding spawns a slurry of troubling election law questions and risks further undermining Americans' confidence in election integrity." Now, we hear that all the time from Trump. We hear it on conservative media. I wonder
He
what
has
it says
no
to you
integrity.
that a Supreme Court justice is putting those words in a Supreme Court opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, the dissent in the mail-in ballot case was one of the most troubling dissents I've read in a long time, until I saw the dissent today in the Birthright Citizenship case. Where, I mean, in both these cases, just taking a step back, Alicia, if you had had me on, 2 years ago, before any of this, and said, Mark, what do you think of a challenge to birthright citizenship, and what do you think of a challenge to ballots postmarked by election day being counted if they come in the days after the election? I would have said, Alicia, don't worry, neither of those will go anywhere, and the lawyers who bring those cases might get sanctioned. Instead, it turns out in both cases, as you point out, Justice Alito, Justice Thomas, they've not only not sanctioned, they've agreed with those positions. So it is a sign of how far things have shifted that we won this mail-in ballot case 5-4, and that the case today was involving birthright citizenship was only 6-3. And I worry, frankly, that next term the Supreme Court has once again already decided it's going to take one of the cases I have that I won below, and they may take a second. So I worry, but we keep fighting moving forward. But to quote myself, the fact that Justice Alito wrote that, it's not good.
Well, let's talk about the Arizona law mandating proof of citizenship during voter registration. Just based on what we got from the court this term, where do you think they take that case?
So this is the case that I mentioned that they have already said they're going to hear next term. Look, we won this case for Mi Familia Vota. I'm very proud of that. That should be the end of the matter. But I think that at least 4 justices, which is what it takes to grant review of a case, they doubt it, and they want there to be proof of citizenship laws, notwithstanding all of the problems. And by the way, notwithstanding the fact that federal law doesn't currently allow states like Arizona to do what they want to do. That's why we sued Arizona and won. That's why we've sued other states since then and won. And, at some point, Alicia, conservatives need to reckon with the fact that their job, if they want to change the law, is to persuade a majority of the House and the Senate to pass a new law and have it signed by the president. It's remarkable that here we are this far into the Trump administration, and Donald Trump doesn't even try to pass legislation. He issues these executive orders like birthright citizenship. He issues these decrees like the U.S. Postal Service shouldn't carry mail-in ballots. The states try to pass these laws violating federal law, and the Republicans in Congress sit on the sidelines holding pom-poms cheering him on rather than doing the hard work of finding bipartisan legislation. This is the reason why we need Democrats to take control of the House and the Senate this fall.
Well, and Mark, to sort of add to the dynamic that you just laid out, you also have Justice Kavanaugh saying that if you really want to tinker with the 14th Amendment, then that should be the work of Congress. The number of invitations this court has given to Congress to act should be alarming in and of itself.
I am so glad you mentioned that, because I wrote a piece for Democracy Docket this morning on the birthright citizenship opinion as soon as it came out. And I actually struggled with whether to call it 6-3 or 5-4 for exactly the reasons you said. It is 6-3 in the way in which lawyers count, right? Which is you tally up how many people voted to affirm and how many people voted to reverse. But you're making a really important point, which is that if you actually look at what Justice Kavanaugh said on the constitutional question, it's really 5-4, and it is an invitation to Congress to change the law regarding birthright citizenship, notwithstanding the fact that the 14th Amendment is clear. And I just wanted to take a second to read this. This is what the first sentence of the first section of the 14th Amendment reads. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the states wherein they reside. That subject to the jurisdiction language is to make sure that, like, the children of diplomats who are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because their diplomatic immunity don't count. But, like, Alicia, there could not be plainer language that says that if you're born in the United States and you're just a regular person, right? You're not a son or a daughter of a diplomat, you are automatically a U.S. citizen. And the fact that
but the diplomats, the law ain't going to apply to them.
An invitation to Congress should be really, really worrisome, not just because of the absolute calamity it would be for those it affected directly, but think in the voting context with proof of citizenship requirements. The Republicans want to pass these proof of citizenship requirements. Well, how do you do that right now? Well, you primarily do it through a birth certificate. And if they get their way and they change this law, birth certificates won't prove citizenship anymore in the United States. So this is really, really worrisome. Like I said, it's why I wrote about this first thing this morning in Democracy Docket.
Well, and thank you for connecting those dots for us, because it's easy to talk about each of these cases in a silo when in reality they are very much part of a whole. Mark Elias, as always, thank you.
Shout out to Mark. Yeah. Let's go here. It's a lot going on.
If you got hit,
A lot to talk about.
as a
Oh, there go the Uncle Tom.
Uber, you would need to try this.
Let's go to the
Were
Uncle.
you recently injured in a car accident? Look at
A birthright citizenship. You're going to want to stick around to hear what just happened. It's a good ruling. It's 6-3 with a 6-3 lineup of the Supreme Court. You're not going to, I think, completely understand the majority opinion penned by Chief Justice Roberts, which has upheld, top line here, upheld
A lot
the
of Trump
birthright
stuff.
citizenship that's guaranteed
And a
in
lot
the
of
Shrine of our
Trump stuff.
Constitution and the 14th Amendment.
He
If
didn't
you're
get his way
born in
this
the United
time.
States, doesn't matter what your parents do for a living, where they came from, what their legal status is, what their immigration status is, if they were just passing by or passing through or living in the dark shadows because of an immigration status, you are an American citizen. Because according to Justice Roberts and the majority, it goes back and stretches back in our common law, going back to medieval times in England. And since common law, which is not on the books as a statute, is not on the books as a constitutional provision, but is almost the oral tradition of a country, eventually reflected in case law. That's the common law. If you can't find it in a book and a statute, and you can't find it in the Constitution, you'll find it in the common law. And what Chief Justice Roberts wrote is that when you combine the common law, when you combine the history of the 14th Amendment, and it being a response to one of the worst decisions by the United States Supreme Court in history, the Dred Scott decision from 1857, that declared that black, newly freed slaves were not citizens, leading to the civil rights law from the 1860s, which then led to the Reconstruction Amendments post-Civil War. This was led by abolitionists. Abolitionists trying to abolish slavery believed that citizenship, where you are born, is a divine right. It was their motivating factor for them to go against slavery and try to eradicate it. And it's now been reaffirmed by Chief Justice Roberts, joined by Sotomayor Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Amy Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh in the main opinion. In dissent, Alito, Thomas, and Gorsuch, who would drag this country back to the dark ages. Now, the interesting thing about the Roberts decision, I'm about to read it to you in a moment, we posted it up on Legal AF Substack for paid members, is that when he wants to be magnanimous and when he wants to be generous, he takes the pen himself. But when he wants to rip away rights, right? When he wants to take away the rights of the very people he's talking about in this decision, with this flowery language of aspirational language about what he sees as American society and where we come from. When he does that, he rips it away. He turns the poison pen over to Sam Alito and has him write it. So when he wants to take away voting rights, he gives it to Sam Alito. When he wants to be magnanimous about birthright citizenship, it's Roberts. By the way, there was some reporting, although it's been retracted, and you know my opinion on this, that Sam Alito is about to retire. There was a whole burst of Sam Alito opinions, right? If he wants to cement his legacy, he wants to get out of there, maybe even this summer. But we'll leave that for a moment. Let's get to birthright citizenship. Some concepts we're going to hold on to here in this moment. Dred Scott, the decision from 1857. Wong Kim Ark, a decision from the early 1900s about a Chinese American-born baby who goes to China and is blocked on his return, and the Supreme Court rules he's a citizen, even if his parents are still following the Emperor of China. And it's that legacy of Wong Kim Ark that is the through line of our common law, which gives people the right to be Americans and imbued with all of those rights. And there was fireworks that broke out in the opinion, where Roberts constantly, frequently chastises the dissenting opinion written by Thomas, joined by Gorsuch and Alito. It says they're wrong. In fact, let me start, as I sometimes do, kind of backwards. I'm going to read the end of the decision, which starts on page 25. and then I'll show you where we end up. This is the fireworks section, folks. Again, top line, 14th Amendment, and the language of the 14th Amendment, giving people the right to be citizens. If they're born in this country, that's the only requirement, has been affirmed by the United States Supreme Court 6-3. Okay, and Donald Trump's efforts through an executive order, the day he was inaugurated, the day he was sworn in, to rip it away and say, oh no, if your parents are from another country or passing through or transiting or temporary or whatever. No, only if one of your parents is an American citizen, that's the only way. No, that's rejected. Here's what Chief Justice Roberts pens on page 25 over to 26 towards the end of this decision. A relatively pithy, very efficiently written, not hundreds and hundreds of pages. 26 pages for a Supreme Court decision is pretty short. Again and again, Roberts writes, the dissents, meaning Alito, Thomas, Gorsuch, cast the common law as being feudal and medieval, a remnant of the darkness of the Middle Ages. And then he cites to them.
Why are you paying $80 for garbage internet?
This is Ryoko Pro. It's a pocket-sized Wi-Fi hotspot, about the size of a credit card stack that gives you your own private, secure internet connection wherever you go. Turn it on, it scans for the strongest nearby signal, locks in, and you're online. That's it. No apps, no setup screens, no technology required. One button, your own internet. Done. Up to 150 megabits per second. 10 devices at once. 8 hours battery.
Sorry.
That was not the view of the Reconstruction. And then he cites to them. That was not the view of the Reconstruction Congress. The Reconstruction Congress is the Congress after the Civil War, who passed a series of amendments, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th Amendments to the Constitution, to fix the problems of, after rejoining the country and uniting the country, the southern states who believed in slavery and didn't like to see it go, and the Civil War that had just happened, and what to do about newly freed, now black American citizens. Roberts continues, where the dissents see feudalism, sees medieval times like Game of Thrones, the framers of the 14th Amendment saw emancipation. See, the framers of the 14th Amendment were abolitionists, right? Who wanted to put into play, if you want to go watch how this happened, watch the movie Lincoln with Daniel Day-Lewis, who wanted to put into place language to protect, yes, to first protect black, newly freed slaves and Americans, but to be enshrined in our Constitution forever, for all people. He continues, by the time of the Glorious Revolution in 1688, back in England, in fact, the tie created between birth was less a duty than a right, the foundation of ancient liberties of free-born subjects. That is why the colonists demanded the rights of Englishmen more than 250 years ago. In other words, in the Declaration of Independence, which we're about to celebrate this weekend, the rights of Englishmen is what was demanded in the Declaration of Independence, and that meant all sovereign rights, all almost divine, imbued, God-given rights. If you were born in the States, you are a United States citizen. And that is why, Roberts writes, abolitionists lauded the ancient and universal rule of citizenship by birth alone as an ordinance of heaven. Citizenship then and now, Roberts writes, for the majority, was the right to have rights, to freely participate in our political community. The framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every free-born person in this land. There were about 8 or 10 different courts that looked at this issue before the Supreme Court. New Jersey and Washington State and New Hampshire and D.C. and Maryland, and all universally ruled that the 14th Amendment said what it said and gave those rights to a newly born child. It was every appellate court that looked at it, agreed. And then you had it at the United States Supreme Court. They rejected Donald Trump's position and his view of the practicing law without a license. Donald Trump, as constitutional scholar, has failed.
Here's a clip of Donald Trump saying, I don't know, case law seems to suggest it's only for newly freed slaves, the 14th Amendment. Doesn't apply to anybody else. Play the clip.
And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
I was not surprised when I read that Chief Justice Roberts wrote this decision. Not only because he likes to take the pen when he can look magnanimous, it's a phony, veneer. But when I heard his back and forth during oral argument with John Sauer, the Solicitor General on the other side, former criminal defense lawyer for Donald Trump, I knew he was going to take that pen if he was in the majority. Play the clip.
You mentioned in your briefing and also this morning the problem of birth tourism. Do you have any information about how common that is or how significant a problem it is?
It's a great question. No one knows for sure. There's a March 9th letter from a number of members of Congress to DHS saying, do we have any information about this? The media reports indicate estimates could be over 1 million or 1.5 million from the People's Republic of China alone.
Why nobody won't ask Trump about his mama? See, he wouldn't be able to stand me, boo-boo. He wouldn't be able to stand me, because I'm going to ask about your mama. What the fuck was she doing? Does this apply to you?
You mentioned in your briefing and also this morning the problem of birth tourism. Do you have any information about how common that is or...
Y'all get the lights up before I shut it down.
It's a great question. No one knows for sure. There's a March 9th letter from a number of members of Congress to DHS saying, do we have any information about this? The media reports indicate estimates could be over 1 million or 1.5 million from the People's Republic of China alone. The congressional report that we cite in our brief talks about certain hotspots like Russian elites coming to Miami through these tourism companies. And I mean, here's the facts about it that I think is striking. Media reported as early as 2015 that based on...
Did he say Russia? Did he say Russia? Didn't Russia help you win one of them elections? Didn't they do some fraudulent shit for you? Now you don't want them in here no more? Did he say Russia? Oh, my bad. Maybe you said rushing. Oh, let me hear that. Let me hear that. Because Russia helped you. Yeah. With that election that your ass lost. Russia.
It's coming to Miami through these tourism companies. And I mean, here's the facts about it that I think is striking. It talks about certain hotspots like Russian elites coming to Miami.
Russian elites.
Tourism companies. And I mean, here's the facts about it that I think is striking. Media reported as early as 2015.
So now Putin and them don't want to help you no more.
There are 500
Now the Russian elite don't want to help you no more. Now you don't want them to come over here and do nothing to Trump. Because if they were still helping you steal elections, you wouldn't be saying that. You wouldn't be afraid about the fraud of election. And you know that it's possible because they helped you. It went from Russia to Elon Musk. So you know it's dirty because they helped your ass win. But carry on. How dare you say Russian elite where Putin helped you? Yeah, now he done sized up and got on up there and making deals around you and about you, and then you bringing up Russia. Ain't that a bit?
Media reported as early as 2015 that based on Chinese media reports, there are 500 birth tourism companies in the People's Republic of China whose business is to bring people here to give birth in return to that nation.
Having said all that,
And how did that
you
help
do
them?
agree that that has no impact on the legal analysis before us?
I think it's, I quote what Justice Scalia said in his Hamdan dissent, where like their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by
Where's the proof?
19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they made
Where's
a
the
mess.
proof
Their
they did
interpretation
it?
has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out to, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Is one plain. Where's the proof?
As Justice Scalia said, I think in the case that Justice Alito was referring
Hypothetical
to,
shit.
you've got a constitutional provision that addresses certain evils, and it should be extended to reasonably comparable evils. He said that about statutory interpretation. I think the same principle applies here, and I think we quote that in our brief.
Thank you.
Now, Wong Kim Ark came up as well, because that is the precedent from 120 years ago. Wong Kim Ark, born in the United States, but when he went to China, it was at a time of great anti-China hatred in America, even codified in state and federal laws. And so when he left and he came back, oh no, Wong Kim Ark, you're not allowed back in. He said, I'm an American citizen. No, your parents are Chinese born. Their allegiance is to the Emperor of China. He took it all the way up to the United States Supreme Court and won. And that's been on the books ever since. An interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which is completely inconsistent with the executive order of Donald Trump. So the descendants of Wong Kim Ark should be celebrating today, because they're defenders of our way of life and supported by this United States Supreme Court.
Still on the
Very
books.
interesting lineup.
The same thing applies to Carmelo Anthony. It's still on the books.
MAGA 6.
Stand your ground. No duty to retreat.
With the result, but not in the way it was interpreted, because of course he didn't want to be seen stabbing Alito and Thomas and Gorsuch in the back. He's got to hang out with them at their anti-American lunches. So he joined to give it the 6. Once again, Amy Coney Barrett and Roberts slide over to join with the liberal wing, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and Kagan, just as they did with the tariff case. Same thing, same lineup. This time, no Kavanaugh joined. Look, I thought this was going to be a 9-0 decision, or 7-2. I'm actually surprised that Gorsuch sided with the ripping away birthright citizenship. He'll be remembered for that in history books as well. The rest of the opinion and this analysis of what allegiance means.
They got him doing some crazy shit with kids,
saying,
just like
it
Clarence Thomas.
depends who your parents are will depend on your allegiance. And Robert said, no. You're a baby. You're a child. Your allegiance is to where you have just been born at that moment. And there's no other evidence to support otherwise. Read the full opinion. It's just 26 pages. It's up on Legal AF Substack for paid members to read. And the results and the shockwaves from this will continue to reverberate, I assure you. We'll cover it here on Legal AF. So many Supreme Court cases coming out.
Let's move on. Y'all, I need for y'all to take a minute and hit the like button. This is not my normal time. I'm just trying to get y'all the tea and to understand it. What am I? Where did I come over here from? This Uncle Tom right here.
Are you worried that using your home address for business puts your privacy at risk? At iPostal One, we can help.
Birthright citizenship not overturned, and Trump was overturned. Well done, right here. It sounds like the ruling came. Birthright citizenship not overturned, and Trump was overturned. Well done, right here.
Flipped upside down.
The ruling came down in favor of the 14th Amendment. Trump is probably a little infuriated right now because
they struck down Trump's executive order, is what I'm hearing. Let me go to my friend. She hasn't had a chance to speak yet. Ariva Martin. Ariva, go. How do you feel about this?
Super excited. Expected this to be the case. Can't wait to hear, Don, how many judges upheld the Constitution today. I'm hoping it's 9-0, 9 in favor of upholding the Constitution and the 14th Amendment. Look, Don, this was always about whether a president can limit birthright citizenship through executive action, or whether the Constitution guarantees citizenship for nearly everyone born in the United States. We can hear those cheers, so I think it's a good day for the Constitution. It's a good day for the 14th Amendment. It's a good day for United States citizens.
Do we know what Clarence Thomas did on this?
We're gonna find out soon enough.
Let's see.
I'm looking it up now. Yeah.
Because I'm saying, how would Clarence Thomas,
The
how does he,
coon.
by the way, he went to Congress, was it today or yesterday? I think it was today. Yeah. Yesterday, because it's early there. Yesterday. I'm a couple hours ahead of you guys. So he went yesterday, but would not talk about why he was there or who he met with. And like, why is the Supreme Court Justice going to the Congress where congressional leaders, their offices are, and not talking about it? Of course they were talking about this. The thing is Clarence Thomas is a black man, is going to overturn a Dred Scott decision, the 14th Amendment, if he's going to vote for that. I'm not sure how he did it. And then vote to gut the civil rights, the Voting Rights Act. It's just unfathomable to me. I don't know how he looks.
They got it with kids.
I really don't. Simone?
Oh, he shouldn't. No, I completely agree. And what we're saying, I think Kasim hinted at this, what we're seeing is that they just keep moving the field goal post.
Mm-hmm.
Every time there's a little bit of progress, they say, okay, well, we're just going to rewrite the rules. And so...
Y'all, how long have I been talking about
why we have this
them rewriting
new Supreme Court? Many
y'all
of which,
gonna believe me
I
one
want to
day.
be really clear, a lot of people don't realize why we have 9 justices. We have 9 Supreme Court justices because initially there were only 9 federal Supreme appellate courts.
And now there are 13.
And now there are 13.
Yeah.
So when we talk about expanding the court, initially people talk about it, they sound nuts, like cuckoo, but it actually follows the logic. So that also would allow moving the field goal post as it's been done before, but to neutralize and bring this back to the rule of law that we once had.
Robert, how did this offer you any hope about the civil rights cases you're working on?
Not specifically, but I also, like everybody else, want to know how many of the justices dissented. If there's a single justice, that's significant. And, you know, you don't have to be a lawyer. The Constitution on this particular amendment is a single sentence. And, you know, without any legalese, it says if you're born in this country, you are a citizen. And to try to weave a legal argument or a political argument or a racial argument or anything other than the words matter. And the plain English words say if you're born here, you're a citizen. For the court and for lawyers to argue otherwise is really distasteful. It's worse than that. And again, I think it's appropriate for the Supreme Court justices, the Department of Justice, which I keep coming back to adhere to the rule of law. That one point is the overarching point that needs to be made. That plain English is plain English. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand that if you're born here, you're a citizen. And I'm glad the court affirmed that simple constitutional amendment.
Ariva, what Qasim was talking about was sort of my preamble to this whole show about don't get it twisted when people say, you know, everything isn't about race. Everything in this country is about race, and it runs through black people. And if you look at the rights, as Qasim said, for people who are, you know, maybe, as we call them, hyphenated, we're African American, right, and are Asian American, or whatever it might be. But the rights that people have gained in this country have come through, in large part, the blood, sweat, and tears, and sadly lost lives of black people in this country. This is the Dred Scott decision, the 14th Amendment, that granted that black people in this country have full citizenship. And if they can tear that down and get rid of that, then imagine what they can do with everything and everyone else. It's the same thing with what they did with the Voting Rights Act. If they can strike down the Voting Rights Act,
it's just a test to see if they can get away with it.
Indian Americans or Latino Americans or whatever, it makes it just that much easier. And it shows you the importance of the contribution of black people to civil rights in America and our importance in in history, American history.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Don. I'm so glad to hear all of your panelists acknowledging the blood, sweat, tears, sacrifices, advocacy, the organizing, all of the efforts by Black people in terms of the civil rights that so many of us enjoy today. I just wish, Don, on some of these issues like the gutting of the Voting Rights Act, that we saw more people who believe in our Constitution, people who believe in our democracy standing up and speaking out and fighting back on these issues and recognizing that if they're coming for us, they're coming for you next.
Absolutely.
And even though the Voting Rights Act and so many of the cases that we've been talking about in the media have to do with the drawing or redrawing of districts in certain states that are predominantly Black voting districts, that this isn't just about Black people, that Black people have always fought for the rights of all people, not just different races, different ethnicities, but for women, for people who are disabled, for any marginalized group in this country. It's always been Black people on the front lines fighting for their rights. And sometimes, Don, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like we are alone in this fight, and other groups don't recognize that if they come for Black people,
they don't care until they come after them.
We have fought for, whether they're voting rights or DEI or the rights to go to school or the rights to be in jobs, then it's only that next group is going to be next.
Them.
And so I hope today that all Americans can appreciate the importance of the 14th Amendment. And Robert is right. Simple words. All persons born, and I should add, or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction are citizens of the United States. And that's been the law of this land for over 125 years. That's how the Supreme Court at least has interpreted that language. And the consequences of a decision that would have said otherwise would have been beyond, I think, what any of us can imagine. In this case, Don, I want to just give
Don, I'm sorry, not to interrupt. I got the number of, which judges agreed and which disagreed. I pulled the receipts.
And Clarence Thomas voted to get rid of birthright citizenship. Am I correct?
Of course he did. Of course.
Oh,
yes.
God.
You want me to read them off to you? You want me to read it off?
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Okay. So Justice Roberts delivered the opinion of the court in which Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson joined in. Jackson also filed a concurring opinion. She agreed, but there was more she wanted to say, which Sotomayor also joined in with, in part. And then Kavanaugh filed an opinion also concurring, but dissenting in another part. And then Clarence Thomas filed a dissenting opinion in which Gorsuch joined, as well as Alito. So basically, Clarence Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito dissented.
All right. Areva, finish your thoughts. Sorry, we wanted to get that break.
No, just saying this case is so much bigger than just the issue of immigration. It's really about the power of the executive branch. And that's what we've seen by Donald Trump.
Areva, how long have we known each other? I knew you when your daughter was...
We're not going to date ourselves, Don. We've known each other a long time.
Okay, all right. Let me just say, though, Areva, Clarence Thomas, how long have we been talking? Come on now.
Well, but, Don, why would you expect anything different from Clarence Thomas? Clarence Thomas is going to be Clarence Thomas. He is on that court for a reason, and he's going to be the puppet. He's going to be the lackey. He's going to be, used by Donald Trump and the MAGA right in the ways that he has shown himself willing to do. So I'm not surprised by his dissent. I'm not surprised by the dissent of Alito. I'm not even surprised by Gorsuch. I mean, they are there for a reason, and Donald Trump knew what he was doing. He didn't put Clarence Thomas on the court, so let's be clear about that. But he did stack the court in a way to get decisions like the ones we've been seeing over the last several years. And so I'm not surprised, but I agree with your guest that says any judge, any justice that, voted and determined that the 14th Amendment doesn't guarantee citizenship to all people born in this country or naturalized in this country, and they're folks born from them, isn't worthy, isn't fit to be on our Supreme Court.
Any reaction to Clarence Thomas, any of you, and Qasim?
I posted yesterday that his wife was behind the last insurrection and he's
Yep.
behind this one, and it's and he's proving me right. And I feel like when you study the history of Clarence Thomas, and the history of how he got on the Supreme Court, it was we all remember the testimony of Anita Hill. We see how he was validated by Joe Biden, who I'm not a fan of because of what he failed to deliver after promising to save the soul of America, and among other reasons. You look at the fact that his wife, I think before they got married, was part of a cult. And then after they got married, she kind of went back into this cultish mindset as well. And there's this really just stunning article, I think in the Washington Post from like around the time they got married, where she talks about how she brought Clarence to meet his family, and her family was commenting that they loved him so much they didn't even see him as black, as if that was a compliment. And so this is kind of the mentality he's had his entire life, and it's just the
He
hypocrisy
dang
of
sure look
someone
black.
who got to go to all the Ivy League schools and got the benefit. I'm sure he worked hard. I'm not taking that away from him. But then to close the door behind him to everyone else is kind
Yep.
of emblematic of what the right has become.
Get what
in
he can
this
get and close
society.
it out.
So it does not surprise me. In fact, I thought it was going to be
He don't want to help
8-1
no more.
with him being the only one. I unfortunately made the mistake of giving Alito and Gorsuch too much credit, which is a mistake that I should not have made. But again, they are telling us who they are. They are telling us that they will seize every opportunity
Absolutely.
possible to take power and to
When a
strip
person
America
show you
down
who they
to,
are, believe them.
Dr. Ibram Kendi's
Oh, I
written a
know
great
you
book about the
lying.
Great
I
Replacement
know
Theory.
y'all not in here and ain't hit that like button. I know you a lie. Y'all double tap the face of y'all phone device. Or hit those three dots at the top right corner. Now, or get out. Can y'all hear me? Am I buffing or something? Can y'all hear me? Are y'all able to hear me? Okay, so whoever has not hit the like button, I need for y'all to hit it now. I don't care how many people in here. I still expect for y'all to respect my platform, hit the like button to get the fuck out. I mean, it's just that simple. Y'all know I know how to make these folks get up out of here. Yeah, I know how to get your asses up out of here. Let's go.
Because that's what they believe. I don't know why Clarence Thomas thinks that he, has the complexion for protection. To quote Paul Mooney, he does not.
He had the.
But just remember, it's going
What
to
do
get
you
worse.
say?
This is
The
why I say,
complexion for. What
I'm
do
a
you
guy who
say?
focuses on
The
solutions.
complexion
And
for the what?
strip America down to, Dr. Ibram. But again, they are telling us who they are. They are telling us that they will seize every opportunity possible to take power and to strip America down to, Dr. Ibram Kendi's written a great book about the Great Replacement Theory, because that's what they believe. I don't know why Clarence Thomas thinks that he, has the complexion for protection. To quote Paul Mooney, he does not. But just remember, it's going to get worse, and this is why I say, I'm a guy who focuses on solutions, and the next president has to be aggressive on this, expand the court, and protect our rights, because otherwise we're not going to have a democracy much longer.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate you.
Shout out to John
Make sure-
Lemon. They need to go on over there with somebody lying that fake news for real. Go on, get your ass on. Oh. Yeah, now y'all know he finna do something really bad because he pissed. He's a revengeful person. I can't even repeat what he said, complexion for the something. I don't know what made him think he had the right complexion. I know he said that much.
Moments in public life
Hold on.
when a leader says something so. Now let me tell you something.
Let me tell these people something. They
There
better
are
get their
moments
likes
in
up.
public life when a leader says something so revealing, so accidentally honest, that you
Accidentally
don't even
honest.
need to argue with it. You just need to make sure people heard it. And what happened this past Monday in the Oval Office was one of those moments. A reporter asked President Trump a simple, direct question.
Are y'all gonna hit the like button?
Now let me tell you
Simple
something.
and direct.
There are moments in public life when a leader says something so revealing, so accidentally honest, that you don't even need to argue with it. You just need to make sure
You heard
people heard it. And what happened this past Monday in the Oval Office
This clown
was
should.
one of those moments. A reporter asked President Trump a simple, direct question about the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, the most comprehensive housing legislation this country has seen in decades. A bill that passed the Senate 85-5. The House 358-32. Those aren't partisan numbers. Those are the kind of numbers you almost never see in Washington anymore. And the president looked into the camera and said it was so unimportant. He called it a yawn. Now, the Blue Bill ran through the full timeline on this. One of the few outlets that'll actually walk you through what happened without spinning it for one side or the other. And when you lay it out step by step, the picture is hard to look away from. Because this isn't just about one bill. This is about whether the people who are supposed to be leading this country actually care about the things that keep ordinary Americans up at night. And we'll come back to that in a moment, because the details here matter more than the headlines. Let me set the stage for you, because the context is everything. Right now in America, the median home price is over $400,000. Home prices have climbed 54% since 2020. The Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies, and these are serious people, not partisans, they put out a report showing that home prices are nearly 5 times median income. The historical standard was 3. That's what it was through most of the 1990s when I was in office. A family earning the median income in this country now needs over $120,000 a year just to qualify for a mortgage on a median-priced home. Back in 2020, that number was $66,000. Think about that. In just 6 years, the income you need to buy a regular house nearly doubled. And it gets worse. 65% of American households, that's nearly 2 out of every 3 families, cannot afford a median-priced new home. In 39 states, the number is even higher than that. We're not talking about mansions. We're not talking about luxury condos in Manhattan. We're talking about regular homes in regular communities, and regular people can't touch them. That's the country this bill was trying to help. That's what the president called a yawn. So let's talk about what's actually in this legislation, because I think that's where the gap between the rhetoric and the reality becomes impossible to ignore. The 21st Century Road to Housing Act is a 380-page package with 56 separate provisions. It doesn't add new government spending. Let me say that again because that matters. It doesn't add a single dollar of new federal spending. What it does is try to make it cheaper and easier to build housing in this country. It loosens outdated federal regulations around manufactured homes. It streamlines environmental review so builders aren't waiting years to break ground on projects that communities actually want. It creates new federal guidelines for zoning so local governments have better models to follow. It includes a pilot program for small dollar FHA mortgages so families who can't afford a $400,000 house might be able to finance a more modest one. And here's one that should appeal to everybody. It bans large institutional investors, these massive private equity firms, from buying up single-family homes. That's something people on both sides of the aisle have been screaming about for years. Wall Street buying up neighborhoods and turning family homes into rental portfolios. This bill puts a stop to that. Senator Tim Scott, a Republican, helped write it. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat, helped write it. And when it came to a vote, 85 senators said yes, 5 said no. In the House, 358 to 32. You almost can't get Congress to agree on what day of the week it is. And they agreed on this. Now here's where things start to get complicated. The president didn't just quietly decline to sign this bill. He had a signing ceremony scheduled. The pens were out. The desk with the presidential seal was set up on a stage at the Capitol. Members of Congress from both parties were ready to celebrate something genuinely rare, a bipartisan win that actually helps people. And then he pulled the rug out. He canceled the ceremony because he's angry that the Senate won't pass the Save America Act, his election overhaul legislation that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote and implement one of the strictest voter ID regimes in American history. Now look, I believe in secure elections, I always have. But the Save America Act doesn't have the votes. It doesn't have Democratic support, and it doesn't even have full Republican support. Senators like Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, they've told the president plainly that the math isn't there. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has said it to his face. And yet the president is demanding they eliminate the filibuster to force it through. And when that doesn't happen, he takes it out on a housing bill that has nothing to do with elections. He's holding American families' ability to afford a home hostage to a piece of legislation that his own party can't pass. And then came the quote that I think historians will remember. The reporter asked, "What are your plans for the housing bill?" And the president said, "I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by comparison to the Save America Act." And then he added this.
Save America from Trump again. Y'all hit the like
because it tells
button.
you everything. He said,
I'll be back when my numbers are up. Save America from Trump again. back. Good, let's go.
Said, it's very bipartisan. That means the Democrats like it. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Reporter asked, what are your plans for the housing bill? And the president said, I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by comparison to the Save America Act. And then he added this, and we'll come back to it because it tells you everything. He said, it's very bipartisan. That means the Democrats like it. They're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree to. Now, I want you to sit with that for a moment. The President of the United States just said on camera that a bill being bipartisan is a reason to be suspicious of it. That the fact that Democrats supported it makes it less worthy. In my experience, and I worked with Newt Gingrich, I worked with Trent Lott, I worked with people who disagreed with me on just about everything. The whole point of governing is finding the places where you can agree and building something there. When I signed welfare reform, plenty of Democrats were furious with me. When we balanced the budget, there were Republicans who thought Gingrich gave away too much. That's what legislating looks like. But this president is saying something different. He's saying that agreement itself is the problem. That if the other side also thinks something is a good idea, it probably isn't. And that's not just wrong as policy, it's dangerous as a philosophy of government. Let's talk about what this does to the institution of Congress, because I think that's the piece people miss when they focus on the personalities. Here you had a genuine accomplishment, months of negotiation, Tim Scott and Elizabeth Warren in the same room hammering out details, House and Senate reconciling different versions of the bill, the kind of unglamorous, difficult, patient work that democracy actually requires. And the president treated it like an inconvenience, like something standing between him and the thing he actually had called this bill one of the most significant pieces, the kind of unglamorous, difficult, patient work that democracy actually requires. And the president treated it like an inconvenience, like something standing between him and the thing he actually wanted. Now, his own press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, had called this bill one of the most significant pieces of housing affordability legislation in American history. Those are her words, the White House's words. And then the president contradicted them the next day. What does that tell the members of Congress who spent months on this? What does it tell the next senator or representative who's thinking about crossing the aisle to solve a problem? It tells them, don't bother. Because even if you do everything right, Even if you build a coalition, even if you pass the bill with historic margins, the president might just shrug and call it a yawn because he's focused on something else. As the Blue Bill's breakdown of the congressional reaction pointed out, even Republican members were openly frustrated. Senator Bill Cassidy, a Republican from Louisiana, wrote publicly that it was irresponsible to postpone signing the housing bill. His word, not mine. Irresponsible. Now I want to think for a moment about what this means strategically, because there's a political calculation here that I think is going to
there is
backfire.
nothing in my eyesight.
The midterm elections are coming in November.
By Trump, nothing. Oh, nothing.
And the president
but he was going to try to force it.
That the Save America Act,
that's why they
restricting
are
how people vote, is the key to Republican success.
questioning the Constitution.
But here's what I learned in my years in politics. People vote on what they feel. And what Americans feel right now is that they can't afford a house. They feel that they're paying more for everything and getting less. The housing crisis isn't an abstraction to them. It's their kid who can't move out. It's their retirement savings eaten up by rent. It's the neighborhood they grew up in being bought out by investors. Congress just handed the president a genuine answer to that pain. Not a perfect one, not a complete one, but a real bipartisan substantive piece of legislation that addresses the supply problem, protects home buyers from Wall Street, and doesn't cost a dime in new spending. And his response was, I don't care about that. I care about voting rules. Now, technically, the bill will become law anyway. Speaker Johnson sent it to the White House on Monday, and under the Constitution, if the president doesn't sign or veto it within 10 days, excluding Sundays, it becomes law automatically. So the policy may survive, but the message won't. The message the president sent to every American struggling to afford a home is, your problem is a yawn to me. So let me talk about what I think happens from here, because I think there are real consequences coming. First, the bill will become law. Trump won't sign it, and he apparently won't veto it either.
Still, so he
It'll
can
just
steal more
happen
money.
quietly,
Yep.
which means no one gets the political credit that a signing ceremony would have provided. The Republicans who worked on this, and many of them did genuinely, in good faith, they lose the chance to go home and tell their voters they delivered. That's not a small thing heading into a midterm year. Second, the rift inside the Republican Party is going to widen. You've already got senators like Cassidy saying publicly that the president is being irresponsible. You've got House members who were blocked from doing business by procedural stunts tied to the SAVE Act. The president told his own members to stop grandstanding, but the grandstanding is coming from his own obsession with a bill that doesn't have the votes. Third, and this is the part that worries me most, the precedent this sets is corrosive. If a president can hold broadly popular legislation hostage to unrelated demands, if bipartisan success becomes something to punish rather than celebrate, then we've broken something fundamental about how this system is supposed to work. We're telling future Congresses, don't even try. Now look, I'm going to close by saying something I genuinely believe. America has been through worse than this. We've had periods where the parties couldn't agree on anything. We've had presidents who didn't always rise to the moment. But we've also always had people in both parties who understood that the job isn't about you. The job is about the family in Ohio who can't afford their mortgage. The job is about the young couple in Georgia who want to buy their first home and can't get there. The job is about the grandmother in Nevada whose neighborhood is being bought up by hedge funds. This bill, imperfect as it may be, was built for those people. It was built by Republicans and Democrats who decided that housing was more important than scoring points. And the right thing for the president to do would have been to walk into that ceremony, pick up that pen, and say, we don't agree on everything, but we agree on this, and that's good enough. Instead, he called it a yawn. And I think when you look back on this moment, when you really look at it, you'll realize that what he admitted on camera wasn't just a policy preference. It was a window into how he sees the job. And the job, friends, is supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about the people who are struggling and the leaders who have the courage to put those struggles ahead of their own agenda. That's what democratic leadership looks like. And that's what we should be demanding from every single person we send to Washington, regardless of party.
Okay, hold on. It's been a fight. Hold on. 6 days, 2 weeks. Hold on. They over here fighting and hold on. Oh my God. Get a hold of yourself. Y'all mad. Y'all, they mad on TV. They mad. Hold up.
Lawler then started to yell at all hell broke loose as a MAGA Republican Congress member, Mike Lawler, tried to pull a cruel stunt during a congressional hearing where he tried to demean the legacy of Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good. Now, Democratic Congress member Jamie Raskin wasn't having it, so Congressmember Raskin told MAGA Republican Congress member Lawler to shut it. Lawler then started to yell at Congressmember Raskin, and Raskin wasn't having it, and Raskin put Lawler in his place. A fight broke out in this congressional hearing. Let me show you what
these professional men. Oh, they mad.
I do feel that outrage.
You do not.
Do you?
Because if you did,
Do
you
you
would
feel?
not support
Do you
sanctuary
feel the
jurisdiction.
outrage about Alex
You should be
Pretty and
ashamed
Renee
of
Good?
yourself.
You should be ashamed.
You
don't belong in this
yourself,
committee.
Jamie.
You should get the hell
You're
out of
a
here.
disgrace.
You don't understand the
You're
rules
a
of the committee.
disgrace.
You don't understand the Constitution.
You're a
Mr.
disgrace.
Full of
Raskin,
it.
Mr.
You're
Raskin,
an absolute disgrace
Raskin,
supporting
get a hold of
sanctuary
Say one
policies.
word about
Get rid of
Say one
sanctuary
word about Alex
policies.
Pretty and
I
Renee
did.
Good.
I
Oh,
wrote a
really?
whole New York Times op-ed about it. You should be absolutely
follow the
ashamed
rules
of
of the
yourself
committee.
for not
Committee will
opposing
be-
sanctuary policies that resulted in their daughter's death.
Yeah, that was what just went down at that congressional hearing. I will show you more of that in just a moment, but let me share
They out
this
there
with you as well. So
clowning.
during an adjacent congressional hearing,
Over
Democratic
Trump losing.
Congress member Pocan cross-examining Russell Vogt, who right now leads the Office of Management and Budget, one of the authors of Project
Clowning, y'all.
2025, one of the architects of destroying USAID, which has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands and millions of people across the world. And Congressmember Pocan asks Russell Vogt this despicable thing.
150 years history of the country, the unified executive theory. So let me drill into one area to ask. Do you concur
for yourself?
You know, many of us disagree with the first time in 250 years history of the country, the unified executive theory. So let me drill into one area to ask. Do you concur that multiple studies have shown that people, both adults and children across the globe, have died because of cuts to programs like USAID?
I do not concur with the validity of those studies. They are based on
Do you
projected
agree that people have
fake
died
methodology.
across the globe because of our
I
cuts?
believe these studies that people are banting about.
My question
are
is,
based
do you
on-
believe people have died because of the cuts to USAID? It's simple, yes or no.
I do not believe that the administration.
You don't believe anyone's died?
Let me finish the question.
No, it's a yes or no.
It isn't,
Doctor, it's
because
really simple.
our
Do you think
cuts-
people died or
our
not?
Cuts are aimed at.
All right, you're not going to answer it. I would claim my time. I thought you were going to be a little more helpful, Director Vogt, but that's fine. So this is Boston studies, Lancet studies. Others have said hundreds of thousands to millions of kids and adults will die because of this. One of your co-conspirators, Elon Musk, recently has been going nuts trying to claim no one's died, and he has to name names. So let me mention a few people who've died because of these cuts. Rovina Naboy in Kenya, her little daughter Jane died of starvation in a refugee camp because we cut back on their food and the food rations. She got sick and died. Uganda Balama in Nigeria, USAID funded program, babies a special nutrient-dense paste to avoid malnutrition. She had twins, 6 months old. The program ended abruptly because of cuts to USAID. 2 weeks later, one of the twins died. I've got a bunch more. Are you familiar with any of these stories?
13.4 million for civic engagement.
Are you familiar with any of these stories? There's no number involved in that answer, Director Vogt.
You're citing.
Are you familiar with any of these stories? I just gave you 2 examples. Are you familiar? It's a yes or no. Don't dance. You're not a tap dancer. Are you familiar with the stories? It's really that simple.
I am familiar with the press that you are citing. The reports that you are also referring to are.
I take my tie back. You're clearly not going to answer questions today. I thought you came to answer questions. You're not.
More powerful cross-examination from Democratic Congressmember Pocan, who says, hey, Vogt, you said being a Christian nationalist is not a bad thing. You've written articles that we should be talking positively about Christian nationalism and that it's, quote, gotten a bad rap. So let me ask you some questions about you being a Christian nationalist and your declaration that you are part of a Christian nationalist movement. Great cross-examination.
Trump don't know what he's doing. He showed up.
Play this clip.
Oh, you are a Christian nationalist by declaration, by articles?
Second year in a row that you've used that slander for
It's
months.
not slander. That's slander.
You and other
Do
Christians.
you think calling someone a Christian nationalist is a slander? You wrote an article. Is there anything actually wrong with Christian nationalism? And now you're saying it's a slander? That's really odd.
I don't. Pejorative, and it's the second year you've done it.
Would you agree that it is wrong?
Are you one?
Morally, ethically, or by your own admission, biblical standards? Is it wrong to facilitate the death of children? That's
We're not
a really
doing that. We have adequate foreign aid for this.
You're
Yes or
not
no?
answering the question. Listen to the question, please. Is it morally, ethically, or biblically wrong to facilitate the death of children? Don't take anything else in context. Is it wrong?
This administration is not doing that.
You cannot answer a question. I mean,
I believe he answered the question. You just don't like the answer. So
no, he hasn't. No, Mr. Chairman, you can ask your own questions and get your own answers, but if he's not going to give an answer,
then move on.
Everyone else can figure out. No, I don't have to move on. I can ask the question, and if this guy is going to, one, say Christian nationalism is an insult, you might have some friends to answer to that one for, but to say the sort of stuff and not answer questions directly, it is morally, ethically, and biblically wrong to facilitate the death
5
of
minutes
children.
are up. Now recognize the chair. Recognize.
And more cross-examination
Wow.
here by Pocan, who says, well, can we agree and stipulate to the following, that morally, what's your view about killing children? Are you pro-killing children or are you against killing children? To which Russell Vogt responds, but don't you think it's wrong that we contribute to civic engagement in Zimbabwe? And then Democratic Congressmember Pocan is like, what are you even talking about? Is this like a Confucius line? What do you even mean? And let me just say this. What would be bad about contributing to civic engagement in Zimbabwe? That's your example of, we need to kill children. That's Donald Trump's agenda. He's a child killer, and depriving people of USAID and starving people to death because of civic engagement in Zimbabwe. Here, play this clip right here.
Time back, please. Morally, isn't it wrong to facilitate the death of children?
Isn't it morally wrong to produce?
That's a question coming back with
Zimbabwe.
Look, you're not Confucius or whatever you think you are, answering the question with a question. I said, is it morally wrong to facilitate the killing of children?
You're basing
Simple question.
You're basing it on a premise that is
Okay,
false. I'm not going to answer that question.
Take my time back. You wrote in
Then we had Democratic Congress member Ivy cross-examining Vogt about the cost to the American taxpayers of the Trump regime changing the Defense Department to the Department of War. It will cost at least $125 million to do a name change. So while they're ripping away your health care, while you can't afford a home, while you can't afford groceries, while you can't afford gas, they're out there spending your taxpayer dollars so Pete Hegseth can beat his chest, say that he runs the War Department while firing some of our top generals and admirals and military leaders because Hegseth is such a small, pathetic human that he can't handle competent, real leaders. Play this clip.
Last week at one of the appropriations markups, there was a discussion. I know that you're using the phrase Department of War instead of Department of Defense. But we were told that the CBO said it's going to cost $125 million to change the name from Department of Defense to Department of War. Do you agree with that estimate?
We haven't done our own estimate at OMB on the cost, but it's something that I think makes common sense. It's what the department was called for most of our nation's history.
I'm focused on the amount.
The National Defense Authorization that's moving through renamed
the nomenclature concerns me less from an appropriations committee standpoint than the fact that we're going to spend $125 million or so. You're not challenging the number, but
I said we haven't looked. We haven't taken our own assessment.
But that's a lot of money, and we spent a lot of time hearing that a lot of the needs that we'd like to fund, we didn't have the money to fund. So with that, I yield back.
Then we had Congresswoman DeLauro cross-examining Vogt. Here, play this clip for yourself.
Will you commit to us here today that you will carry out our spending laws as Congress intended through appropriations and reconciliations as they were enacted or not?
Obviously, we will take and make sure that we're spending money where you intend us to spend money. At the same time, I'm not going to.
No, that is where. No, the answer to that then is no.
I'm not
You
going
are
to take a
not
tool
going
off
to.
the table.
You are not going to spend the money that Congress in a bipartisan way enacts. Yes, you did.
No, I
I
didn't.
yield my time back.
Let me go back and show you the full video right now one more time.
Okay, y'all, I'm finna go. I may be back later.
And MAGA Republican Congress member Mike Lawler